Okay guys, Rick Shaw here again. It's the same morning that I got that bicycle, Chinese made bicycle. And I understand when I buy something Chinese, you're pretty much fixing them from now until the end of time. Well, what happened to this one, there it is right now. I just finished wrapping it all back up because it had what I would call a catastrophic failure. I mean, this was really something. They had put the back wheel on and the chain and all that was already done. The only thing I had to do was put the front wheel on and the handlebars and the pedals. And pretty simple. And the seat. Pretty simple stuff. So, took it for a ride right off the bat. The brake worked fine. The brake was working absolutely perfect. But the problem was, it stayed working until you backed the bicycle up. If you backed up the wheel a little bit, then it released the brake and you could go in freewheel. Well, took it for a few rides around the block, and then my wife tried it a little bit. And then I thought, okay, I'm gonna, the steering head on it was kind of tight, and I don't like loosening up the screws, so I put a little bit of oil in there, and it was rusty. It was rusty in there. I pulled the handlebar piece off and was looking. Ball bearings are all just full of rust. So I squirted some oil in there and it smoothed it up. You know, it was stiff to steer. After I tightened it back down the same exact number of turns and put the handlebar back on, it was turning perfect. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go for another little ride up the street. So I go up the street and go to turn around, I hit the brake. And the brake inside the hub, the way they work, they're like a wedge thing. So when you push the wheel backwards, it pushes against the wedges and they go on the inside of the hub like a drum brake. Well, they went on the inside of that hub all right, and went right through it. I mean, it was just cheap pot metal. Instead of using a good piece of cold rolled steel, something like that, it was pot metal. And it just, it came undone. It twisted the whole wheel, bent the axle. I'm up at the end of the street having to carry the bike home. I mean, it's wounded. It's a fatal wound, so it's in its coffin. It's going to go back. You know, I don't understand. You know, the Chinese, they just keep pumping this crap out. And how can they make money when all this stuff is junk? I mean, that is an absolute. That was pot metal. The hub was made out of pot metal. And I was very amazed at how light the bike was when I got it. It's a steel frame, and oh my goodness, this thing is so light. Amazing. Well, that's why, because it's the cheapest metal they can get. You know, China, are you ever going to build anything that's worth a shit? But I got a hold of the chat thing with the company that sold it, and they sent me a thing on how to get this thing returned. I took some good pictures, which I'm going to put a picture on the header when I go to post this video. I'll put that on there so you can take a look what broke. And just amazing. I mean, it's just amazing how fast this thing just totally came apart. And like I say, it's what I call catastrophic failure, because there's no way to fix this other than replacement. It's a total replacement. All the stuff inside the hub is all chewed up and bent. The axle is actually bent. It bent the axle. I mean, holy mackerel. I've had bicycles for years. I even went down off of a 70-foot, like a cliff, but I stayed on top of the bike, and I'm talking about getting beat up and banged up. Finally fell down right at the bottom and wasn't hurt too bad. And you know something? The bike was fine. Scratched the paint. You know, it was messed up a little bit, some rocks. And I do believe the chain came off. But the axles were fine. This thing, I'm just riding down the street and hitting the brakes, and it just twisted everything out. So, guys, when it comes to stuff from China, it's best just to say no, thank you. You know, this is not my first rodeo with China and their stuff. It seems like. I'm good for the shipping companies because they're the only ones making money, because everything I get from them seems to go back. I'm gonna look for another bike. I'm just gonna have to pay the money. I'll probably look on Carousel, find a nice used one somewhere, because I just can't. You know, I have the money, it's just I can't bring myself to be paying $1,000 for a stupid pedal bike. It's ridiculous. They want 55 grand for one that fits me. I'm not paying $1,000 for a pedal bike. I don't care if it's made out of solid gold. They can kiss my butt. I'm not paying that. And here in this country, things are more expensive. Things are much like dollar store items are way more expensive because they're stepped on. You know, it's like druggies. You know, they buy the drug and then they take a little bit out. They put something in, so it's stepped on once, and then it goes to somebody else. They take a little bit more out, raise the price a little bit, you know, take a little bit out, cut it with something else. You know, it's stepped on. Well, this stuff here is the same way. It goes into this person, that person has it. All these different people handle it, and everybody's taking a little cut. And the prices get up ridiculously high. And there's my beautiful little baby. Hi, handsome. Oh, how's my precious boy today? My beautiful little Geronimo. He's my little huggy boy. I always said that the kids that were real huggy when they were small all turned out best. And all my kids are very huggy and sweet. And hopefully Dad's going to have a bicycle so we can all ride together. But today, I'm going to do the return authorization and all that stuff to Lazada. And hopefully I'll get my money back before 2035. I'm not counting on it, but that's probably what's going to happen. So this is Rickshaw, just letting you know what goes on. And when it comes to buying something from China, take it from me. Rickshaw out.